Hello, hello, it is Aisha reporting to you live. Today we're going to be talking about rising rent causing problems in low-income households. So we all know that not having enough money could lead to problems in the household, and since so much of the money is being taken from a low-income family, like the money they're already making, it's going to take away from other things such as food, utilities, etc., and that's going to cause problems in the household. And it's just like a lot of people aren't making as much as they can to like suffice their other needs. So about an average family of four, it costs $1,400 to live in a rental. So, and that's according to SPM thresholds, which is supplemental poverty measures. And this, this is a family of four that we're talking about. So, with children, etc. Housing costs are proclaimed to be unrealistic. This is simply because of the low-income families that aren't making enough money, and they can't afford everything because it's more than their income. It's hard to balance it out for them. Rent is not the only problem that they're facing, and they have to balance their money out with other things such as food and expenditure costs such as clothes, and then obviously they'd have to save, especially if they're in a family, for their children's future and just rainy day money. So they have to balance all that out, and they're left with about $450 of expenditure money that they can use that wouldn't be involved in their rent. And that's not a lot because they have to budget it out throughout the month, and this is an average family. So this turns out to be a problem for the bottom 20 percentile because now they're rent burdened. Although low-income families do receive other sorts of benefits, such as food stamps, so that lessens the burden and the costs, and so this gives them an advantage over the elderly, but the elderly do tend to receive more money. So, in their case, the elderly wouldn't have to pay as much money in rent. So that would lessen the costs for the elderly, and it'd still be a lot for the low-income families. But they are receiving help from outside sources, which the elderly are not taking part of. Going back to what I said about the vouchers helping out the low-income families, only 1 out of 4 are helped, meaning 25%, meaning that small portion is only being helped. So you'd have to be making some pretty big bucks just to be living in a good neighborhood and being safe and just going to a good school and providing a good education for your kids. So locally speaking, in Austin, you have to make about $27 an hour. And other places like Houston, you have to make about $20 an hour. So it varies, but it's still they're really big bucks, and low-income families, again, do not make as much because you would have to make about 6 figures at least a year. And all of this takes us right back to the start, talking about low-income families and how minimum wage couldn't provide all of that for them. So you see all these people, these 8 times 100,000, that's 800,000 people who can't afford to live like that because they aren't making as much money. This is not reasonable or realistic, and our laws aren't helping as much as we would think either, because they don't really have rights in Texas renters. And so inclusionary zoning is what could really help us move forward. And according to a site, to enact this, it would require developers to quote unquote create affordable units. And under our current law, renters in Texas, they don't have even the basic rights because they can get kicked out for complaining about sewage or electrical problems. So they don't even have the basic freedom and rights to just live as a renter. And according to another article, there are other alternatives coming out to save more money, because you need a real income in real places to be living an okay life at least. So they are planning other ways. Either there will be a rise where we need it in our incomes for income households, or the rent will lessen and be more affordable for the low income households. And so, like I said, like about 3/5 of their income, that just goes towards rent, and they are left with the other 2/5 to manage elsewhere. And that's not a lot, because they have other things that they need to take care of. And like I said, they also have children whose needs need to be met as well. But the good news is that there are other alternatives coming. All of this is just now ringing a bell in Texas. As of 4/24/19, and there is change coming to all of these problems that have been induced, and they're slowly but surely canceling out. Now you may be wondering, Aisha, what's the significance of all this? Well, let's start with the fact that a lot of lives depend on this, and they need homes to live in. They can't live on the streets because that's not necessarily safe either. And this is all about the flow of money as well, like where the money is going, how it's coming back, and the low income, like if the prices are going to rise, which leads us to our economy. So are the prices of living in a household, like a safe place, it's going to rise or decrease, and we're trying to get it to decrease. And also about like their incomes, is it going to rise or decrease, and they're trying to make it increase. And then also it involves laws, which impacts all of us, and regardless, like, and a lot of them need to be passed, and previous ones need to be canceled. So basically, the rent will either increase or decrease. It depends on the wages. So if we get higher wages, then rent will probably stay the same. If the wages are about the same, then rent will probably go down. And this will lead to better homes and schools, and just living in a better environment, and the upbringing of your children will be in a better environment. So laws need to be passed and canceled, and there's some alternatives that would make living there affordable. So like I said, that depends on the laws. And then this is all for our future generations, so that they can have a stable and good foundation. And this is about it. And that's it. Thank you for watching.